Still a little bit of winter out there, and everybody's like, well, it's getting warmer and spring's right around the corner. Don't believe it. If you know anything about recent history over the last couple of years of global warming, there's always one more good snow dump sometime in March, usually before the feast of the Annunciation. So don't put your snow shovels and salt away just yet. A good friend of mine, who I think many of you know, her name is Jillian Buell. She is one of the original board members of Walking with Purpose and was a former parishioner of mine when I was in Manayunk. She gave me an article by Lisa Brennickmeyer. For those of you who don't know Lisa, she is the founder of Walking with Purpose. And it was a short article. It was about 19 pages, dealing with reaching out to and ministering to women and how important that is to the Catholic Church. And Lisa happened to mention a few things that caught my eye. One of them was her reflection on the gospel story of the two friends who lower the paralytic man on the mat down in front of Jesus, where Jesus says, your sins are forgiven. When the Pharisees complain, he says, well, what's harder, to say your sins are forgiven or you're healed and you get up and walk? And Jesus then cures him. Lisa writes this. Jesus spoke to the needs of this man's heart as well as the needs of the current situation. On a spiritual level, Jesus forgave his sins. On the physical level, Jesus spoke healing over his body. The paralytic needed to experience both. Lisa goes on to give some significance. In a perfect world, we would all be truth seekers. We'd want to know what is true and good. But in reality, many of us don't want truth. What we're really seeking is personal well-being. We just want to be happy. When people are trying to figure out life, they don't want a bunch of truth dumped all over them. They need things that are going to be genuinely helpful from a practical standpoint and to look for solutions to their problems. Lisa goes on to quote Jeff Cavins, who says, this really wasn't what we received in Catholic grade school, Catholic high school, or even Catholic university, or even now in the church. What we received, as Jeff Cavins talks about it, is a pile of Catholic stuff. And the reason why so many people left the church is they wanted well-being, they wanted solutions to their problems, and a pile of Catholic stuff doesn't help you unless you can unpack it and you can apply it in a way, much like Jesus did with the paralytic, to something that is spiritual and something that is human and something that is practical on the other end. And I thought this was really significant because if we can't make sense of what it is that we believe to other people, is there any reason why we're surprised that they're not coming to church? Is there any reason why so many of our young people have left? It doesn't make sense. Well, Jesus loves you. Well, so what? You should come to church. Why? Those are very good questions. And if we can't give them an answer, then we really are not doing our job. So Lisa puts out 5 good questions that I thought would lead to a good conversation when those difficult questions come at us. Why is Jesus interested in my friendship? Not why I should be interested in Jesus. Why is Jesus interested in me? Why should I pray? And when I decide to pray, how should I pray? What are the limits of forgiveness? What is the role of suffering in my life? John Paul II wrote a whole encyclical on that. Can God really change me, or is that just wishful thinking? Why are these questions important? Because what Lisa talks about in her life is that when she left the Catholic faith and came back, there were key people in her life that just sat there and just listened and walked with her, accompanied her on the pathway. But the second point was when Lisa had questions, they didn't judge, and they didn't necessarily give her a pat answer or some Catholic stuff. Lisa says that they waited a little bit, and about a day later, a week later, or even a month later, they came back with an answer that had taken out a little piece of the Catholic stuff, but applied it in a way much like Jesus with the paralytic that addressed an issue or a problem or a worry or a concern. And I think this is what we need to do. We need to be able to have good answers, not so much to the theological questions, but to the everyday life questions, and figure out a way of how we can connect the human dimension of Jesus with the spiritual dimension of Jesus. I miss seeing you walking with purpose, gals. I miss the laughter. I miss the full parking lot. I miss the lovely scent of perfume wafting through the halls of the new school. I miss walking in the building and seeing all you ladies enjoying yourself. I miss those coffee clutch connection things, because every time I go to them, there's no coffee. But there are tables of wine. And Michelle always comes over and says, "Can we get you a glass of wine, Father?" Duh, of course. So I'm looking forward to the time when Walking with Purpose is able to get back into the cafeteria and I get to enjoy your presence again. There's a lot of wisdom in Walking with Purpose, a lot of wisdom that Lisa gives us this week. Same thing with That Man Is You. Same thing with my men's Bible reflection class. I hope all of you are being fed during this Lent in some kind of a community with the Word, and look forward to seeing you all in church, if not this week, sometime soon.